This week, we wanted to talk about powered paragliding. This is a sport that I did a lot of before we hit the road, and the past couple weeks we've been hanging out around a lot of it.
Yep, so the first spot that we stopped was at the Black Hawk Paramotor Ranch in Valley Springs, California.
Got the t-shirt.
Yeah, and that was really cool because we got to see some instruction, we got to meet some newcomers to the sport, and we got to check out their manufacturing facility.
After that, we heard about a paramotor fly-in going on in Lincoln, California, so we went up there to check it out and actually met some other full-time RVers there. And there are some parallels between RVing and this sport. A lot of times pilots will go to these fly-ins and camp and fly together, and because these crafts are so portable, a lot of times they'll take their airplane, if you will, with them on the road.
Yeah, funny enough, if you guys don't know it, Chris from Technomatia used to fly powered paragliders, and Lincoln is where he started. We actually met some people who knew Chris when he flew there. We've had a lot of fun the last 2 weeks, and we took a lot of footage. So this is powered paragliding.
Powered paragliding, paramotoring, or PPG for short, is a form of ultralight flight that offers the cheapest and easiest form of powered flying. Paramotors are lightweight portable aircraft that fly very slow, usually 20 to 30 miles per hour, but can climb to altitudes greater than 10,000 feet. The sport utilizes a paraglider wing for lift. Paragliders are parabolic parachutes, hence the name, that are very efficient at gliding, and due to their shape provide natural forward movement while flying. While using a paraglider without a motor, it's usually referred to as free flight. Free flight paragliding requires a form of lift to stay aloft, and is usually done along cliffs that have updraft, mountains, or even sometimes thermal heat conditions. The second part of powered paragliding is the motor. Called a paramotor, these small engines are mounted either to the harness that can be worn like a backpack or to a set of wheels. Motors usually weigh 50 to 70 pounds and produce 15 to 30 horsepower. Typically they're two-stroke engines, but many units with wheels are four-stroke, and usually flight time with a full tank of gas is 2 to 3 hours. When worn on the back, it is known as foot launch, as running forward inflates the wing. Then you apply throttle and up you go, taking off from your feet. With wheels, it is called trike or quad launch, as you usually have 3 to 4 wheels, and takeoff requires the motor to inflate the wing and power forward. The paramotor provides thrust, allowing for flight in situations where there is no lift. Over the years, techniques have been developed to easily launch paramotors from flat ground without any wind. Paramotors and gliders are steered by a couple of toggles called brakes. They actually warp the shape of the wing to cause a turn. The basic concept is brake right, brake left, turn left. The brakes can also be used in unison to create flap-like lift to slow the wing down for landing or intentionally stall it. To control altitude, it's as basic as providing more throttle to go up and letting off to go down. The throttle is held in one hand, connected to the motor by a flexible cable. This allows you to control both the throttle and the brakes at the same time. The combination of paramotor and paraglider provide everything required to fly. A neat benefit of the sport is you can easily change the flying characteristics of your setup by changing the paraglider wing or your motor. Due to the relatively cheap costs of the craft, many pilots will have more than one wing or motor and will change it depending on how they want to fly. Different wings can provide more speed, agility, or stability depending on your preferences and experience level. Motors can be changed as well for weight, power, or other characteristics. The paraglider wing can fold up into a small bag, and most motors can disassemble as well and take up very little space. In fact, many pilots can even transport their paramotor in a sedan to their flying locations. Unlike a stall in a fixed-wing aircraft like an airplane, if forward speed slows too much, the paraglider wing can actually collapse in flight. Although this may sound alarming, they are parachutes and designed to reopen. Due to this danger, however, and depending on flying conditions, some pilots carry additional reserve parachutes that can be thrown in the event of an emergency. Paraglider wings are very susceptible to wind, turbulence, and thermal conditions, and most paramotoring is done only as a hobby. Because of the limited flying conditions, flights are usually done early in the morning or late in the evening when solar thermals are weakest and winds are low. Similar conditions to when you would see hot air balloons flying. Regardless of the limitations, many pilots frequently get together to fly. Because they're not airplanes and don't require an airport, most prefer to fly out of small grass strips, soccer fields, or any open space big enough for them to take off. Pilots get together at what we call fly-ins, although you actually drive in with your gear, and frequently camp on site to fly the evenings and mornings together. These are fun events that add a great community aspect to the sport, and frequently have games that are played while flying, like trying to catch balloons in flight, picking up a ball with your feet, or even dropping beanbags on a target. With proper training, learning to fly powered paragliders can usually be done relatively quickly and safely. To fly as an ultralight, you cannot carry passengers, but with a light sport license or an exemption, passengers can be taken up on a tandem paramotor or the next step up in aircraft known as powered parachute. Overall, flying PPG is a relatively safe, low-cost way to fly like a bird and experience the most freedom possible in personal flight. So there you go. We hope you enjoyed learning about the sport. I really think this is an amazing sport, and being around it and being around so many pilots and the machines again really reinvigorated me and made me want to get back into the sport.
Yeah, and me too, kind of. I never got into the sport before, but this was the first time that I actually got to go up in the air. As you may have seen in the footage, I got to go up with a powered parachute pilot, and it was absolutely amazing.
As you saw in the video, there was a lot of RVs there as well. This sport, as we said at the beginning, does have a lot of ties to RVing. In fact, the first trip that we made in our RV was to a powered paraglider fly-in back when I had a motor.
Yep, but unfortunately we changed rigs and Tom had to sell his equipment. But I definitely feel like we'll be getting back into it sooner rather than later.
As you can see, I'm pretty passionate about this sport. I think it's an awesome way to fly. If you have any questions about it or are interested in it, feel free to shoot them over. I always love to talk about powered paragliding.
And thank you so much for watching this week. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't joined us on our adventure already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you along for our journey.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
For those of you who don't know us, we are the Mortons on the Move, and we travel full-time in our RV, also known as 100%ers.
Okay.